years back because of the cost arbitrage, the low cost arbitrage, which was the driving force for any multinational company to come over here. Now the stage has come to move to the next level. Now all the GCCs, I make an appeal to all to move and to take the stage to the innovation and see that we grow. The innovation start from here. The GCCs, which are about 350 to 400 over here, and which have a potential to make it 100 billion by 2030. I believe through statistics, what I could able to see today is about now $46 billion industry here in India will scale up to $60 billion by 2026 first quarter. So looking at that sphere, we are all working how to attract the GCCs to Hyderabad. So how do we attract? How do we engage with the GCCs who are willing to come down to any part of India? And everybody knows in the geopolitical scenario, when the China plus one theory comes into picture, everybody are looking at India, and everybody are looking at, especially I can say to Hyderabad after I have seen the experience in Davos. So I want to equip of my state. I want to equip all you with the best cooperation and coordination which you sought from the government. And I would like to say that these are the few things I would like to mention. I keep repeating with Mr. Chowdary Garu all the time. But the ecosystem, what I have seen, I shouldn't mention about few other cities or states which are from the Indian Union of States. But the bad examples of few states have taken it up, and our government has taken it up, and we have learned from it. Maybe the shortage of resources, maybe it's about the traffic congestion, or, attrition. All these subjects have been taken into account, and see that my point is to see that all these things has to be addressed for all the domain players who are coming here, and they shouldn't face the same problems over here. And I was just asking Chowdary Garu, who inspired a team from Bangalore to come over here, where they are planning to keep. I was asking you, sir, again, he said in the west of Hyderabad. I was slightly worried, because tomorrow it should not be the place where, traffic becomes a problem, the services becomes a problem, or the resources becomes a problem. So in that sphere too, and the urban administration side too, where my chief minister is the municipal administration minister, we are planning to take up the same level of infrastructure in other three directions. Maybe some incentives, some progressive legislations will come to see that the four directions of the city looks the same. Maybe it's about the entertainment or the recreation required by the employees who stay here, the amenities or the accommodation facilities, employees require over here. So that sort of infrastructure we are planning to build over a period of time, maybe in a year's time, so that the equitable distribution of the companies, and also companies shouldn't face problems in sort of what I've been telling about. Coming down to the other aspect which is my pet subject to, Hyderabad, as everybody knows, is a small state, a new state, a young state. It's a landlocked state. We only bank upon, our grey matter, especially in IT. And I can say proudly that the grey matter not only exists in the capital city of Hyderabad. I would like to mention that we have our intellectual capital in tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 or the rural areas, what I've been sharing it with my friends. So how do we improve that? How do we take all the GCC players from Hyderabad to that place? When GCCs, the leaders over here start their offices in terms of innovation, then the next level can be in the tier 2 or tier 3, where you can look upon for the cost arbitrage, low cost arbitrage, and also see that, for example, I would like to quote, taking a few minutes, Chowdary Garu, I'll, with your permission, when I had become the minister this time, one of my friends from the IT industry has come down and greeted as usual with bouquets and flowers and all those things. I told, this is not required for my people. You have to do something back to my small village over there. So he was constantly pursued by me to put up a small office. They are into this drone software applications. So he was trying to find out what to keep. For the 8 months, he made lots of research, and through his offices back in US and Europe and here, he could come up with a small solution. The fourth tier of its services, which are required for the drone application, which he requires the talent in terms of, Polytechnic or ITA standards, he identified and put up a small office, a 30-seater office back in my Mantini. This is my constituency headquarters, the rural constituency, which is 200 odd kilometers from here. You are surprised. I was also surprised to see that when they have put an advertisement to call in for applications for the employment, 170 engineering students have applied for it. So that is the talent available with that, because those people wouldn't have got employment here, and they've been sitting back in their village trying to find out some sort of employment related to their study, or they would like to assist their families in their own traditional occupation. So this is what I mean to say, is this is the talent available here in Telangana. So my point and my appeal to all the GCCs is to literally see that we have to outreach all your capabilities and offices to the tier 2, tier 3, if possible to the rural villages too. So talent, this place, the infrastructure, and I would like to say that, fiber connectivity, the last mile connectivity is being done, and underground fiber network is being taken up to the last mile in this state. When the software companies require the minimum infrastructure required for putting up their offices, we are already there. So keeping that in view, what you have expressed, how should we frame the new GCC policy? All the three friends who have shared their views on behalf of their colleagues and their partners, they have mentioned few points. And in terms of first group, which they've been telling up, and I have seen when the voting has been done, they were apprehensive of this logistical side, ease of setting up operations. And I would like to mention here, ease of doing business. It is ranked by many people that ease of doing business in Hyderabad is supposed to be really good, excellent. And we've been ranked number 2 in ease of doing business. In 2024, we have come up with Business Reform Action Plan, BRAP, wherein, we would like to see that the operational efficiencies and putting up their operations and framing and the framework should be so easy and conducive for all the players who come to set up their operations. And going to specifics too, I request, because you should have done much of exercise. If there is anything more to be done, we would try to put it in our GCC policy. And when it comes to decentralization, I'm also more for the decentralization. So fine. This is a subject for our government to going down to tier 2, tier 3. And when you mentioned about not only about the institutional infrastructure required, it's about the social infrastructure required, which you should try to give it. We will try to see that the social infrastructure, I think it's in place. Otherwise also, we will try to see that whatever you are expecting, we'll try to put it across and definitely put it across. And government industry partnership, what you've been mentioning about it is definitely, whoever comes to and try to partner with the government, we will have a special concession or special encouragement for them. Their products or their services will be taken as priority for the government works. This is the priority what we have given, and we would be extending that too. And ease of funding, I've been requesting Chowdary Garu, and also I've been trying to piling up or trying to literally see how the funding takes place for the startups or the innovation or next to be done. And we are on the verge of coming up in terms of pooling the funding, and we are on the plans. And definitely we'll see that how best we can tune it up, because we are in the initial framework. I won't like to disclose it, but definitely we would like to come up with, whatever the input what you give. And coming down to this, about the commercial viability and invest in funds. Any entrepreneur, if there is no commercial viability, nobody would be going into business. And the government also provides the best space, best resources, how your product, how your services should be viable. And I rightly agree to all the GCC players who are here, all the technological players who are here, how we can really adapt, move from the existing technology and adopt to now to the disruptive technologies, whether it may be AI or the cyber security or data analytics or, quantum computing for tomorrow. And all these disruptive technologies or the emerging technologies, I would like to say the other day I had been to Switzerland and I've gone to a town, Basel, and we have an agreement. Our Department of IT recently, just few days back, had an MOU with Quantum Basel to put up their Center of Excellence here. This is how we are trying to take it up and trying to imbibe and embrace all these new technologies and move further. And I do agree to all these points of agility, and not many of patents, whatever, companies or the talented pool creates over here. No, not much of a data is also being agreed. But if you see in US, as everybody knows, each and every product they come up, they immediately file the patents. And the patenting, the patent office, and the trade registration office, we've been seeking from the central government too, which is now in Madras. We want to have a sub office over here, and we have been trying for it. This is, and also we will, try and make it happen over here. Well, the Chowdary Garu was also mentioning about the two other points where I share the same common idea with him about, there are so many startups over here, and whatever you mentioned about the startups having problems to find the marketplace, this is the area where everybody has to have a common platform to address these startups or innovation, to have the market in the supply chain. This thing we have to find market. If somebody can really connect the startups with the market, then we can take this ecosystem to the next level. I do agree, and we will try to do that. When you've been speaking about the forum for the GCCs, where you have the conglomeration of the GCCs and all, what talent needs or adoption of the startup by the GCCs or internship also, we are just in the framework when we started these two initiatives of BFSI Consortium or the Skill University, the next is to tie up with the industry, whether in all verticals of the industry, to different streams of academic discipline, at least to have 6 months of internship with the industry. So we are just working out, the education department is working out how many students get graduated, how many students get enrollment the first, second, third year, and we are trying to literally associate with the industry. We have been talking to the industry and how the internship, because lakhs of the students are there, the companies are few, how do we can relate them, and we can literally see that the students get internships in the times to come. So, and nice ideas you have given. And coming down to all this asked by the GCC leaders over here, in the new GCC policy, I came here to know about your intent, your asks, and I would be literally be working with my team over here with the officers, and including officers, I'd be working with the entrepreneurs also, and see that the best GCC policy will be annual very soon. And I would guarantee you all, very productive GCC where all your concerns will be addressed, will be annual very shortly with help of yours. With this, I would like to conclude. Anything more ask from your side, please keep us informed through the leaders over here who have organized this meeting. And again, I thank Chowdary Garu, Sheshadri Garu and the team for literally facilitating this meeting over here and also making me a part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are now very privileged to have Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, founder Global Humanitarian Mission amongst us. They say there's divinity in everything that we do, and that is also seen here. Can I request you to please come up on the stage and felicitate our minister along with J.A. Garu? Can you please come to the center of the stage? While the GCC startups and academicians are building an ecosystem to improve the economy, leaders like you have to also put a stamp for go ahead to make all these initiatives come successful. Jay Garu, maybe you can go on the other side. Thank you.
On behalf of ISF, I want to thank Honorable Minister Garu for agreeing to grace this event. And Minister Garu, you gave me one target. Before you come to US in the month of May, you asked us to create a framework for the fund of fund from the GCC companies or the CEOs who are going to meet you in US. As Hari mentioned, some of the CSR funding from the GCCs, there is a possibility that they can create a fund of fund, use that for funding the startups in the early stage. So we'll start working on that. So maybe I request all the GCC members, if you can connect us to your counterparts in US, we'll be going little earlier. By the time Honorable Minister arrives to participate in our May conference in Austin, we want to create that kind of, he should come and maybe launch the fund of fund for state of Telangana for helping the startup companies. So we need your connections also, Honorable Minister, not only ISF contacts or GCC contacts, we need your network also, so that we'll have meetings with them, so that see, the discussions has to go productive. Otherwise, keep on talking issues, same issues are being raised in every forum, but no action is happening. So we would like to go for a result-oriented thing from now to May. We'll keep the target, and we will also meet all the GCC heads here take their help, and we need your help also to see that how we can mobilize that fund which is going to help the startup companies. Thanks a lot once again, Minister Garu.
Thank you, Jay Garu. We're very privileged to have Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, founder Global Humanitarian Mission amongst us. We are privileged to have your blessing, Sadguru. AV team, could we please have the video?
One world, one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is the guiding principle of the Shri Madhusudan Sai Global Humanitarian Mission. Founded by Shri Madhusudan Sai, a young humanitarian and visionary, the mission has established institutions in healthcare, education, and nutrition across 80 countries over the past 12 years. All services are provided free of charge, silently transforming millions of lives worldwide through the power of compassion. The Annapurna Morning Nutrition Program began in 2012 with breakfast for just 50 children and has since grown to become India's largest morning nutrition program. Today, over 10 million school children across India and beyond receive the Sai Sure multi-nutrient supplement, helping them begin each day nourished and ready to learn. In education, the mission has established a university and 28 as well as a school in Nigeria, offering free education from grade 6 through to doctoral studies. Over 3,700 students are receiving values-based education and developing skills to make a positive impact on society, with many coming from rural backgrounds and 40% being girls. A skill development center equips rural youth with job-ready skills through courses in plumbing and electrical technologies. Additionally, over 7,800 scholarships have been awarded to encourage primary school enrollment for rural children. The vision of accessible medical education was realized with the inauguration of the Shri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Offering free medical education with a commitment to serve rural communities, the institute is bridging the healthcare gap between the urban and rural areas. On the healthcare front, the mission has established the world's largest network of free pediatric cardiac hospitals in India, Fiji, and Sri Lanka. Since 2012, over 34,000 life-saving procedures have been performed at these hospitals, all at no charge. Additionally, 5 mother and child hospitals, primary care wellness centers, mobile hospitals, 2 multi-specialty hospitals in India, and 2 hospitals in Nigeria have together provided consultations to more than 2.9 million patients. Looking ahead, the mission's next milestone is a 600-bed state-of-the-art hospital in Muddanahalli, set to be the world's largest fully free hospital. Scheduled for inauguration in November 2025, it will be the second teaching hospital for the medical college. This facility will provide world-class healthcare to everyone, removing financial barriers and ensuring equitable access to high-quality care. Beyond nutrition, education, and healthcare, the mission has also established 11 centers for human development across 10 countries, fostering both service initiatives. The vision for the future is bold and transformative: to establish 600 schools all over India and 6,000 wellness centers, one in every taluk. With a mission to ensure that no child goes to school hungry, the goal is to million children daily, empowering the next generation with education, health, and hope. This monumental dream embodies the spirit of oneness and service, striving to create a bright future for all. When individuals prosper, society prospers. When society prospers, the world prospers. Together, we are one world, one family.
Well, I think the initiatives that the foundation has taken is beyond words. I had the privilege of experiencing it firsthand, so it's an amazing effort that's being done. To know a little bit more about Sadhguru's interest and interest in the foundation. Let me now welcome Sirisha Voruganti, who brings in 33 years of global executive experience spanning research labs, product engineering, strategy, mergers and acquisitions, business development, and consulting across private and public sectors. She is today the CEO and MD of Lloyd's Technology Centre, one of UK's leading banks. Can I please request you to please come up on the stage? Also, not to forget, she did take up this opportunity to and ensure that she moved her tickets to go to Bangalore to the last flight so that she is part of this conversation. I think that's the kind of dedication. Thank you so much, ma'am. Sadguru, can I please request you to please come up on the stage?
Well, I just hope the people at the very end of the room can hear me with a show of hands. Okay, cool. So Pranam Swamiji, it's great to have this opportunity again to be talking to you. Actually, thanks Jay Garu. I think Suresh Babu Garu didn't come and I'm a stand-in for this particular session. So it's a last-minute thing and if anything goes awry, my apologies. But sitting there in the audience and just listening to everything about the GCCs and the asks that we have, of the state was amazing. I've been one of those that set up a GCC from scratch, and I totally understand the sort of issues that we have. But the magnitude of GCCs that we have in India today, I think, is amazing. 1,600 plus GCCs, huge tech hubs that we've created, tech and innovation hubs that we've created. And personally, I don't believe we're anymore a low-cost center or the center for labor arbitrage that somebody comes here. I do believe the best brains are here in this part of the world, and that's the reason the world is searching for us, and we have about 50% of the global GCCs in India. So that's a huge thing for us, and I think we should applaud ourselves, for what we've achieved. I think 2 million jobs that are provided for skilled workforce in this particular ecosystem, about $28+ billion of revenue that the GCCs bring into the state. And I think there's a huge roadmap for the growth of GCCs, close to about $100+ billion by 2030. I think that's the sort of place that we see the GCCs getting to. It's just not the big tech sectors, but I think every sector that we have and are playing a part. I'm looking forward to this next 1 hour where we have this conversation with you, Swamiji, about various things, of course. So the way we'll structure this is the first 45 minutes is primarily the fireside chat, and the last 15 minutes is something I'll open up, for the audience to ask any questions that you have. But before we start, I'd like to go through a couple of icebreaker questions for you, to get your thoughts on what you think about this. We have a lot of tech guys in the room. So what does technology and innovation mean to you?
Having come to the city of technology, in the very heart of the technology, I think, I'm anyway obliged to say that technology means a lot, but not merely words. I will give you simple examples of how technology is changing the lives of rural people, how it is transforming the lives of the last and the least, the have-nots, as we say, and how an organization like ours, which is primarily a charity, is utilizing the technologies created by the people in this room and beyond to uplift and transform the lives of millions of people. One example I'll give you is, we run educational centers. Now, education and technology cannot be separated anymore. If you're not computer literate, you're not literate at all in this world today. Post-COVID, as you might have seen, that there was a disruption in educational system where physical contact was not permitted. And that was the time when education had to reach to the masses. We couldn't have left our students or our children in the villages in a lurch. But to reach out to them, the only option was technology. And we used the technology to the best of our capacities whether it was online tutorials, videos on YouTube and such channels free of charge, even providing them with simple smartphones, which have become quite cheap now compared to the times, earlier times, and internet, which is the cheapest in the world. I think these are so many good things that have happened to India that helped us keep our schools virtually running and not leave the children high and dry. At least when they came back, they were not like many of the schools elsewhere, especially public government schools, have suffered a lot. So they were still kind of at par with whatever being taught, except a few. So technology is a game changer. It has helped charities do their jobs better. We have hospitals, it runs completely on technology. Whether it was hospital management systems, whether it is just the communication systems. Now with artificial intelligence and robotics, healthcare is getting transformed. So everything that we use in our system is anyway technology. And if we are, if somebody turns a blind eye to technology, the person will become irrelevant in today's society. So I have an appeal to the technologists here that please bring more rural technologies, because bigger part of the world lives out there in the rural and small towns all around the world. And technologies that are affordable, accessible, and available to the rural masses would be truly the game changer for the future.
That's so well said. Absolutely. You've talked artificial intelligence, and that's one problem that all of us grapple with, and especially with the advances that are being made in that particular area. So what do you think about artificial intelligence versus, skilled workforce? Because there's this whole myth around in the industry that people are going to lose jobs.
I think it is the same myth when, let us say, the scribes were replaced by the people who could type, and the people who could type were replaced now by people who can speak. So every age has seen a different change in the way we do things. And now is the time of artificial intelligence, and there is no two way about it. You have to learn to live with it. And better to make peace with whatever comes alongside artificial intelligence. But I think it's a great boon, because it solves so many problems so fast. And one example I'll give you is, I believe in MIT they were looking for a solution to this hospital bug. It's a very common bug. And you cannot just, they have so many antibiotics, so much of technology or whatever you call it, healthcare thing, but you still don't have a solution to this one particular hospital bug. It's some kind of a virus. To find its antidote, you have to go through strains of, whatever antibacterial things. And there were 6,000 of them which were chosen. 6,000 strains which have to be, each one has to be tested. And I believe that they just use a model, an AI model, to figure out which would be the best among the 6,000, and then they zero it down to maybe a few hundreds. And from there further, they only tested those many and found a solution to this one particular hospital bug, which had not been found till date otherwise, because 6,000 strains cannot be tested. The cost of it, the volume of it, the cumbersome process doesn't allow you, but technology allowed it. So I think artificial intelligence has to be embraced in every field. You can't run away. The downside of it is that, yes, would we lose a lot of skilled workforce? I think run-of-the-mill workforce will have to get more skill. That's what you have to upskill yourself. So technology will support us, but human brain or human intelligence, what I call it as artificial technology, can never be replaced, you see. It has to be promoted, and I think the human touch, we might have technology in healthcare also, but without the human touch of the nurses and the doctors, the technology means nothing. So I think we can never lose sight of the importance of human beings. The only solution to live together with the technology is that you keep upskilling yourself, you keep innovating, you become more creative. And that will also give us the time to be creative. Otherwise, we just do the run-of-the-mill things. So I think it's a good thing if it's used correctly. But I do, because the minister is there, I must tell that some policy and regulation must come for artificial intelligence. You never know who is writing his resume using a ChatGPT or now DeepSeek AI. You never know which student is doing his assignments properly and who is not doing. And the worst part is, you won't believe, but I got a child's report card. It's from another country. So I looked at it, I said, oh, how did these teachers find time to write such detailed reports for a primary school child, that he is active and he participates in this and does this, does that. Oh, the English is so good and so nice. So one of my technology friends who was there, I thought, see, our schools should give report cards like this. What wonderfully written report cards. Then he said, you just wait for a minute. And then he opened his ChatGPT and write a review of a primary school child. three qualities he mentioned: hardworking, people-friendly, and resilient. Can you believe it matched sentence to sentence? And that's when I realized that that's where technology can be a danger.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's so well said, because we keep talking about it in the context of financial institutions and banks, where you have technology for developing certain patterns. You have the same technology being used on the dark web to actually create anti-patterns, right? So yeah, the last one, I mean, of this, the icebreaker questions really is Adi Shankara. You know, I've read a lot about what you feel and your personal regard for Adi Shankara. A couple of things. I mean, can you talk about the learnings and how that has affected you individually as you went on through this journey of social entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. I must, I'm happy that you asked about Shri Adi Shankaracharya. I'm sure most of the people in the room would know about him. If they do not know, he was a great philosopher, a man of wisdom, a realized being, who interpreted and commented upon many of our Vedas and Upanishads, which are otherwise quite hard to understand. He simplified them, he explained it to the common people, and he revived Sanatana Dharma in the 9th century. And he lived for a small age of 32 years. But in that small age, he had written so much, because the first 16 years he read all the Upanishads and Vedas, which run into huge volumes. And the next 16 years, he had already interpreted them and given the world a simplified version of our scriptures, which was extremely important. So this is the contribution of Adi Shankara, who revived actually Sanatana Dharma in those times when it was kind of under attack. Very many other philosophies were coming up, which were more easy for people. But Adi Shankara explains Sanatana Dharma in its truest spirit. Born in Kerala, Kaladi, but went to Madhya Pradesh, Narmada, stayed with his guru and did his work. And then he traveled around the country on foot twice and established 4 centers of learning, centers of excellence in Badrinath, up there in the Himalayas, then in Puri in Odisha, then in Dwaraka, then in Sringeri, which is in Karnataka, and we work with them too. So this is his history. Now, how he has influenced me? I think he was not merely a spiritualist, he was also a socialist. See, spirituality should find its relevance in social life. It can't be something for the retirement life or something when you are useless to the society, you want to escape somewhere and you find this as a great escape and refuge in some philosophy of spirituality, which is sheer lethargy or, in a way, escapist attitude. He talked about not only leading a life based on the spiritual principles, which simply says everything is divine, basically. He says this table is also divine, this glass is also divine, my mic is divine, I am divine, you are divine, everything. But he explained what is this divinity. He calls it as consciousness, prajnana. Now what is this, or Brahma? Now what is this consciousness? He says that everything in this world is conscious. There is nothing called inert matter. And now you talk about string theory or unified field theory or whatever. The Nobel Prize of 2022 was given to 3 of these physicists who proved that, 2 particles, entangled photons, if you separate them by the distance of the universe, even then you can predict the spin of one of them by looking at the spin of the other. So that's how we are all connected to each other. And this has got a Nobel Prize, this theory, which was proven finally after 100 years. So with unified field theory, spin theory, now the quantum theory that is coming up, it will teach us that we are all connected somehow or the other. And if I do something, it does have an impact on somebody on the other side of the world. May not be direct, but indirectly it works. And Adi Shankara said that this is consciousness. He called it as a consciousness. It's an intelligent force. It's not a dead mechanical kind of an energy. It is a conscious energy. And today we are slowly getting there. Science is at the cusp of spirituality, if I may say so. And we will figure this out. And I'm very happy when the quantum science becomes more known, we will realize that these truths are actually for real, what Adi Shankara was explaining. So he's a scientist in that way, because he did the investigation and came to a proof. And second thing that really helped here also is the Adi Shankara in his, a lot of things he has written, but in one of his question and answer kind of a composition, he writes, Prashnottara Ratnamalika, he says, Yatra Kutno Vidheyaha, Prayatno Vidheyaha, where should we work? What area we should put our efforts on? And he explains, he questions and he answers. So where should we make all the efforts? He says, Vidyadane sadaushade, vidyabhyase sadaushade dane. Means put efforts in giving and receiving education. Put efforts in giving good quality healthcare, equitable healthcare to all, and do charity. This is the way you can build a better society. We talked about skill development, sharing the knowledge. Now, this Adi Shankara told as the tools for societal transformation. So you can imagine the spectrum of his teachings from the highest philosophy of consciousness, which is so intangible and so subtle, to the basic social needs of those times also, that do give education to people, democratize healthcare, and do charity. Whatever is in your capacity, do for others. So these are simple principles. If we follow today, definitely the world will be a better place. So you can imagine how much he has influenced me.
Actually, that was so well said, because all these years I've been thinking of Adi Shankaracharya's teachings. There's only Advaita and the concept of Aham Brahmasmi. Really didn't think beyond, but that's so well said. Thank you for sharing that. The next couple of questions are really about, what you've built and how you've built. And sitting there in the audience and looking at that video, the magnitude of what you've built there is just so enormous. And I think you do all of this with charging no money at all from people that are using these, facilities that you've offered. So why, firstly, no money, and how are you managing it? Because we struggle all the time where we're saying, even to do a little thing, it's like we need to be funded, and we need this additional budget, otherwise we can't do something. But here you are, running an organization of that magnitude, which is completely free for everybody using it. How are you doing that?
Well, that's a trade secret.
You can share that with some of us.
I'll share you, it's a simple truth. Now, when you have purest of the intentions to do good to others, you see, or for that matter, do anything, somehow the universe conspires to support you. This we have heard any number of times. And now if I go back to the Adi Shankara theory of universal consciousness, if I release a pure thought in the universe saying that I want to help somebody who really needs my help, I don't have the resources, but I need to help, something happens, something goes around the world and things start moving magically. That's how we began, with a very small one school project in a very remote North Karnataka district of Kalburgi. Today it has grown to university, a medical school, and nursing, paramedical. You have plenty of other school campuses across, including in Telangana and Hyderabad. In Siddipet, we have a girls' campus for tribal girls, and they learn computers. And they learn English, they learn all the other things, they're getting skills. So also we have a heart hospital right next to it. And we serve so many people nutrition in Telangana. All the school children in Telangana, 25 lakhs of them are served morning nutrition for free. And this is across the world and the country. How does it happen? What is the secret? As I said, our intentions were very strong. We were very clear that education, healthcare, and nutrition cannot be commodities. Our country always stood for dana, vidya dana, arogya dana, and annadana. And our temples and places of importance, religious places, they always ran a gurukulam by the side of the temple. They also ran a hospital, Vaidyashalas. They also gave annam for free. And like you go back again, technologies, if you go back to Steve Jobs, as Steve Jobs did mention that because he had a bad or a difficult childhood, but he used to get his only good meal every week, and when he would walk, 20, 30 kilometers to the Hare Krishna temple. That's where he would have a full meal, otherwise he was just surviving on tidbits. So our temple culture was like that, and that's why India was Sone ki Chiriya. We were the most prosperous country, contributing to the world GDP. But the moment we commoditized everything, there was a downfall. Because now we started calculating whether if I give food to this person, what will I get out of it?
Right.
If I give help to this person, what is in it for me? The moment we made commerce out of human relationships, the entire society started declining, or came to this present state. So there is a law beyond the law of commerce in the universe, and this is the law of love. When you love and you intend to do things out of that pure love without any conditions or selfishness, there is a mechanism at work in the universe which supports you. And the biggest proof is us. If you can call us a startup, we are only 12 years old. We started in 2012, 11 end actually, so 2012. And minus 2 years of COVID, if you may, then we are only 10 years old. And what did we achieve? We built the largest foundation in the country, which, just to give the figures, because you will appreciate that, we spent close to 400 crores on OPEX alone. OPEX alone, giving education, health, nutrition across the country. And the CAPEX has run into thousands now of crores. How did it all happen with nothing in our hand? It's because good people started coming and joining us. They said, I always wanted to do good, but I didn't have the courage nor the capacity. Here is a foundation. I can join hands and I can do my bit. And then all drops started, coming together. It became an ocean. So that is how goodness spreads. Now, what can corporates do? Can they run it like this? I'm not sure of it, because by the very definition, you are supposed to make profits. But at what cost, you must ask yourself. Profit at what cost? Not at the cost of principles, not at the cost of people, and not at the cost of planet. If you keep that in mind, I'm sure your company will do much more than what it is trying to do right now, if you keep those values in place.
But this is an amazing story, really. And I think it's a huge lesson in leadership for all of us sitting in this room, right? But what's that one, key lesson in leadership, or the key takeaway for leaders like us that you would, talk about through this journey of yours? Because, we've always heard, about when we go through our hiring process, right? They say a type A hires a type A and a type B hires a type B. And the moment you start getting more C's into the organization, the quality drops. And that's when productivities of organizations drop and the organization is no longer at the level at which it should be. But how have you done this? There's one person's motivation, which is yours. But how did you go about building that entire structure around you to actually achieve that objective?
Yeah, I think you said it in your own question. You said the answer. You get the right kind of people to your organization. See, as a leader...
But it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's hard to find. Of course, it's hard to find. But as I said, if you do not find, then you cannot build a good organization. It won't last. You will have a lot of attrition and hiring issues, and the quality of whatever work will suffer. Right people is the key to the right organization. But without a right leader, you cannot get right people. And leader is like a magnet. If you live the very philosophy day in and day out, whatever it might be it Abdul Kalam ji, who wanted to build space program, or be it Vinoba Bhave, who wanted to do Antyodaya movement, or Gandhi ji for that matter, who decided this country should be free for whatever reason, and his charka is there up there on the logo. Spin khadi anymore, but we still are inspired by the idea. See, you have to live your idea. You cannot ever compromise on that. What you believe in, you ought to believe in. And when you believe in something, you'll attract right kind of people to yourself. And that, once the leader lives that kind of a life which he truly believes in, he will get the right kind of people. And Hitler also attracted all kinds of people to himself. Who could have built an army like that in those times? But Hitler believed in the idea that he wanted to conquer the world. So also Alexander the Great. Of course, their ideas were not so nice, so they didn't last. But here we are, believing in goodness, believing in the idea that we are here to do good to others, and living that idea day in and day out. Not a single day we have lived without doing some good to somebody. So I think a leader must believe in his vision, never give up, never compromise, and never ever think that he has anything else to do in life. Once you have plan B's and plan C's, then plan A's never work. So you have to burn your boats and bridges. You're here for that, and you're here for that, come what may. I think that kind of conviction people have seen in our leadership, and those who also resonated with that. Not that everybody was a, fully ready-made personnel who came in and walked in through the doors and became a part of the mission. No, we invested a lot of time and energy in our people. We truly cared for them. We treated them like a family. And that loyalty, even if their quality of work might have been little less or more, the loyalty and bonding made them improve themselves every day. And that saved us a lot of other headaches that come with people management. So I think now the second generation leadership team is ready. Yeah. Because they were inspired. They saw the leader working this way. I think that's what a leader should do. Must believe in his or her idea. Must live that idea day in, breathe, eat, live, sleep, talk, eat, whatever. Everything is that idea. Once you do that, everybody comes with you.
Amazing. Thank you. There's one question I think, I don't know if it's probably the life of, not just my own, but I think a lot of us in this room constantly go through this stress and churn, not just, for the traffic and everything else around, but in the workplace too. It's amazing amount of stress that all of us go through. And it's very, very difficult for most of us to have a sane mind at the end of it, right? But I've always seen you super calm and composed. I've never seen you even, raise your voice or anything, right? So in this fast-paced world where you are achieving and going after something as huge as you did, how did you maintain that composure and calm? And how did you maintain that balance?
I think first way you can, stress is there everywhere. You do good, you have challenges there too, but you have more challenges when you're trying to do selfless good in the world. And so stress and challenges are everywhere in life. Life has been designed like that. It's an obstacle race. It's an obstacle course race. So you have to deal with it. First, accept that. Going on resisting that, why it happened to me, why should it happen this way, why can't be another way. This resistance itself creates a tremendous amount of stress. Like even in electricity, we know resistance is the enemy of the potential whatever voltage. And so idea is that first accept situations in your life. I think it will de-stress you 50%. Once you know that today is going to be a traffic day, there is going to be jam in the road, and why would you fidget and why would you get angry? Because you know that this is how it's going to be. Nothing can be done about it. So once you accept that, you'll find more creative ways of finding solutions to that issue. But once you are not accepting it, you go on fighting against it and you waste a lot of energy and time. So I think first accepting is one thing. Second thing, I believe truly you can be living a life of less stress when you really do what you love, when you're passionate about it. I have seen scientists work day in and day out there. I'm sure it's a hard work. Or so also you have built companies, so also they run a government. It's not easy. But if they love what they do, they never feel stressed. There's hard work. They may get tired physically, sometimes even mentally exhausted. But that frustrating stress won't come to them because they love what they're doing. So love what you do, find your passion and then believe in that and do what is. And when challenges come, do accept that these are a part of the process and this is something that you must accept and move on. Then you don't fight and resist, you don't waste your energy, you find another creative way. I think these two things have kept us in good stead. But yes, there are times when things get very difficult and when you really don't know how to proceed, and that kind of stresses you up, not physically but mentally or emotionally. In those times, you have to look up to a higher power. So you have to believe in something which is higher than you, which runs the show. If you do that, there is some kind of assurance that you get, you see. That yes, I have done everything, whatever best I could do in my might. Beyond this, there's nothing that I can do. I have accepted it. But nevertheless, it must be done for the good of all. And I look up to a higher power. And we believe that that divinity, that consciousness which I talked about, listens. And then things start changing because you have surrendered to that greater idea by dissolving your own ego. And that suddenly starts doing magic. So these three things, I think, love what you have got to do or do what you have got to love, whichever way you present it. 2, accept situations in life. Don't always fight. Sometimes accept and move on. 3, if nothing can be done, look up to that higher force which governs everything and surrender to that greater force. In a complete selflessness, in complete egolessness, and you'll see that your stress will start disappearing.
Well said. Thank you for that. Guys, line up your questions. I'm going to ask Sadguru the last question, and then I'll open it up for questions in the room. So the last one that I have is really looking ahead, right? What is your vision for the next decade, for your own mission, of course, and for the rest of us in the country?
We believe in these fundamental things like basics, like education should be available to all at an affordable cost. I'm not saying everybody can avail free education. Government is doing its part, philanthropists are doing their part, NGOs are doing their part. But the idea is that if any child in India or anywhere, in the remotest African village, wants to get educated or develop some skills or access some opportunities, finance cannot be the reason why such a child is denied that opportunity. Anything else I can understand, but money cannot be the reason why a child cannot or can educate itself. That democratization of education. The next thing is healthcare, because we believe that health is everybody's right, fundamental right. Though it has not been declared even by the greatest world bodies, but I believe health is a fundamental right, and it should be a part of a constitution of the government, that health has to be the right of all people. Now, of course, healthcare comes at different costs, intensities, and not everything can be given free, I understand that. But then those who just cannot afford, they should be at least given an opportunity to access healthcare. And I think governments are doing their part, but we don't have right kind of manpower sometimes, or infrastructure, or whatever the other bottlenecks are there. They all have to be sorted out. For that, society and governments have to work together. because we believe that everybody should have access to that. No, I can pay for it or my company pays for it. Cannot be the reason why I continue to live and somebody dies next door. That cannot be the way our societies should be built. So I think these two are the fundamental pushes we are right now working towards, that everybody who needs health should have access to it. Everybody who needs education should have access to it. And very even more fundamental than that is, how can you have a child hungry at school or anywhere for that matter? Child is the fundamental unit, if I can call so, or is the most important citizen of the country or the world. How can a child, what kind of society have we built where a child who cannot afford food is never given food? So many millions, 800 million children across the world are malnourished. They don't have access to good quality water or food. Forget about education, health, that is all later. Basics are not there. Now, what are we doing with $100 trillion global GDP when there are hundreds of millions of people who do not have access to water, sanitation, food? So nutrition is another very big push, because nutrition solves many problems. Nutrition is medicine basically for this body. So when we give nutrition to everybody, which is right now we are doing through a formula, SciSure, which is ragi based and fortified with vitamins, minerals to take care of their daily needs to a great extent. Now this solves a lot of problems like anemia, stunting, wasting, and their neuromotor skills, their attendance in school, their ability to grasp things, analyze, process things. And tomorrow when they become grown-ups, especially for women, if they're anemic, they deliver unhealthy babies. And that's an additional burden on the system. So we have found this as a very powerful intervention, and we are trying to reach out to every single person, at least to begin with in this country, where we can intervene with some nutrition and start solving one problem at a time. But these three, I feel, education, health, and nutrition, are fundamental rights of everybody. If you can't buy it, somebody has to give it to you. And that is what we are doing. And thanks to you and your corporate and so many other people who are continuously supporting this cause through their corporate social responsibility. As individual social responsibility also you have been supporting. We wouldn't have come this far without all of you. So I wish that whatever the minister is dreaming of, this country being the biggest GCC for the world, the biggest workforce should come out of here. Yes, and should create prosperity. Because if everybody is earning, why should I run an NGO? I should not have a job. That is your job. Make sure that you do enough for the society, that there is no need for NGOs to go and feed a poor person, because there is no poor person to be fed. Now, can we create such equitable societies is the idea. So we have to all work together, and till it happens, we must be at it.
That's one amazing vision, and a huge round of applause for that. So now I'll go around the room. If there's any question, please raise your hand and we'll get the mic there. There's a question, yeah.
Good evening, Sadguru. My pranams. I'm Kavita Rajesh here.
Okay.
Namaste. Sadguru, I have a question to you. Today we are talking about Sanatana Dharma, Adi Shankaracharya and all. Today the generation now will not know about any of these dharmas and all. So it is all based on the AI tools and ChatGPT. So how do we educate the generation next about the dharmas and the practices and all? So we see a huge gap in the system as such. Maybe the parenting or the school, it should all start from the school, because most of the time the students are spent maximum time at the school level. So I want to give you a talk.
I understand. And this is the predicament across the world, and many parents and teachers have come to us to tell us, to ask us, how would you teach these values, basic values to the kids, because it is not a part of their curriculum anymore. Earlier we had to have a moral class or something. Even that is not done away with most schools. And you touch any religion and then you are in trouble. Yeah. So you just don't even start on that. So what happens then? There is a homeschooling that parents would have to teach the children whatever they need to learn, and do it the way they like it, Now audio, visuals, AI itself for that matter, give them some assignments on ChatGPT, search about what is Sanatana Dharma, what are its 10 fundamental values or something like that, make a project out of it. So everything and anything is available on the internet today. I think it's a great idea, because earlier if you want to learn about Dharma, you have to really seek a guru. And that guru would be sitting in some forest or some mountain, you never know. After making such a tedious trip to him, he may not even accept you as a disciple. So there was very little access to the knowledge systems. But today it's available everywhere. Shankaracharya's every Bhashyam, you will find it is there everywhere. And what we are doing, just to let you know with Shankaracharya thing, that we are translating most of his works in English now, along with Sringeri Sharada Peetham, so that you can have cross-references from his all texts. They're all in Sanskrit right now. Some bit of work has happened. Now we are sponsoring a project where we're translating everything. It will be available on the fingertips of all the kids on a mobile app. Encourage them, and reward them when they come to, they learn something about it. But most importantly, parents have to learn. Parents can't say, I don't want to know anything about it, but you go and learn. Then children are not going to learn. You have to learn first, and only then they will follow. Teachers have to learn, then students will follow. Is information available? Yes. Is it available in a format that you can assimilate, digest, process? Yes. Is more coming in? Yes, much more is coming in, and AI will become very powerful to spread the culture also, just as it can spread anything else. So I don't think that's the bottleneck, that information is not available. The intent to make it reach the children is that of students, as of parents and teachers. And I think we have to create a parallel system. We can't do it in a formal way. Then we have to create a system at home where we spend time with our kids telling them about all this. Or those teachers who are interested, they must do it on after school hours. So we are coming with a value education curriculum. It's a global curriculum, which is consisting of 12 books, 15 books actually, starting from 3 years old. These are workbooks, and it's freely available. It will, for the entire globe, it will be launched in November of this year. And that will,